Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to the Toronto Raptors 104-99 win against the New York Knicks. Riker, first game with Marc Gasol on the roster. This new look Raptors team has got me excited.
Yeah, absolutely. The squad is looking like they will come together to be a legitimate playoff team, which is nice because we're at a point for so long that the Raptors have been a fantastic regular season team, but you never have confidence of them come playoff time. Now we have a lot of assets that have experience winning clutch games and performing in the postseason, so it's exciting when it all comes together. We'll start with the comment of the day, eh? And we've been through this once. We won't lie to you here. This is our second take in the podcast. Bit of recording issues the first time, so I'll even summarize because it was perhaps a bit lengthy last time. But basically, we've had a lot of podcasts to cover the trade deadline. A lot of back and forth involvement in the comment section. Some on board with what's happened, some not so much, not convinced yet. Me being on the other side. We had a hearty debate when we broke down the whole trade situation with Gasol. And a lot of criticisms to say, on me, saying, stat watching or being absurd that Gasol is not improving the team. I'm going to say that I stand by what I said, right? Because my issue is not to say that Gasol is not better than JV. He's definitely better. And not that it doesn't improve the team. Definitely improves the team. My issue is that this was the blockbuster trade, not considering the buyout period. But this trade alone didn't really address the key issues that's holding back the Raptors. And that's legitimately three-point shooting if we looked at this game tonight. But what happens with Marc Gasol is that he brings an obvious ability to pass the ball and to facilitate. And when that becomes realized, when he gets put into the starting unit, and when we bring in the buyout guys that we just acquired, and we enhance the three-point shooting, then we're going to see that incremental gain for the Toronto Raptors that's going to make them contend with all the players or all the teams in the East and make them have that push to bring them all the way to the championship, possibly. Right? That's what makes the Raptors really good. So Marc Gasol alone, if we just look at that trade, it's not making the Raptors crazy. It's not making them crazy better. It's making them better, not crazy better. When you put in, that chemistry and the ability to knock down shots, which the Raptors weren't necessarily doing tonight, then that's where we're going to see this team really shoot off to the next level. So we'll start with that. Three-point shooting, bit lackluster tonight, but we're going to talk about Gasol first and foremost because, man, what an introduction.
Most definitely. Obviously Marc Gasol came off the bench tonight. 19 minutes for him, 7 points, 6 rebounds. Not an overwhelming stat line, but you see the way he plays. And obviously we've seen a lot of highlights. We don't watch many Grizzlies games in particular, but you see the highlights. We know what Marc Gasol can do. But in this roster, you can just really see how he would thrive in this Toronto Raptors offense. He's gotten the ball mostly in the mid-post area, and the swings, his basketball IQ was on full display tonight. Obviously, he was running with the bench unit for most of the game, and OG Anunoby, Patrick McCaw, Fred VanVleet really didn't have it tonight, but they're not the greatest offensive pieces, especially when Fred's three-point shot isn't down. But you could see Marc Gasol give those guys opportunities for great looks.
Yeah, and this is the point that we brought up already. We'll reiterate it here now, is that Serge Ibaka is not really, and you can elaborate on this, but he's not really a piece that elevates the game of the players around him. Yep. He's a good guy. He's a serviceable player, and he's had a fantastic season, minus the three-point shooting as of late has been horrendous. But when we put Marc Gasol and you get that full chemistry, because he just came from New York. There was issues with the contract side, getting that cleared with Memphis, but luckily it came through, so he was able to play in tonight's game. And already he comes in without ever having practiced or meeting these guys. Comes in and he's making incredible passes that we've never seen from the big man position on the Raptors squad. So when you put him to complement Kawhi Leonard, to complement Kyle Lowry, this team is going to have so many more opportunities to have more open shots and to play through a guy that just knows how to play in the post and bring it out to the perimeter. And that's not to talk about, that's not even mentioning his defensive ability, which is, like you said, on full display tonight.
Yeah, certainly. Defensively, you can really, despite his older age, you hear everyone saying that he's 34 years old. You can see why this guy was a defensive player of the year only a few seasons back. Marc Gasol can really show it. He had one possession where he just locked down DeAndre Jordan, got the block. It was really exciting to see. But yeah, Marc Gasol, I think we're both in agreement that he should be in the starting unit because his game will really be felt by playing with better players around him. Because he's going to give the ball to people in open spaces. Kawhi Leonard, he could swing the ball to him on the wing. Pascal Siakam be able to feed off him. And you mentioned it. Serge Ibaka is a phenomenal player in his own right at scoring the basketball. He can put the ball in the hoop, plays great defense. He's having an outstanding season. But Serge Ibaka's impact is not felt in elevating other players. When he's on the court with better guys, he's not necessarily going to get the most out of our best top players. So I think if we had him brought off the bench where he can just get buckets and, in the same vein that Luis Scola, the old veteran we had in 2016 when we made the conference finals, brought him, he started, but he used to come in, mostly have his minutes played against bench players, and he just finessed those guys. Serge Ibaka, I think, would thrive going up against bench big men who are usually younger, and he can use his old tricks and old tactics to really take advantage. So I think the Marc Gasol being integrated in the starting lineup only makes both units better. And yeah, I'm just really excited about him coming in. And, one of the more valuable pieces, too, that I noticed from him tonight, obviously, you mentioned it. He barely knows the team. He just got traded from a place where he's lived basically his whole life. He played high school in Memphis. High school basketball in Memphis. He played for Memphis his whole career. This is the first time he's in a new organization playing with a different team, and he looks super excited to be here. He's on the bench just rallying behind the guys more than ever. Usually it's the younger guys that go crazy and, are high-fiving everyone, but Marc Gasol, who's a 3-time All-Star, could be coming in here being the big shot or whatever, but he's high-fiving Kawhi. I remember he patted Kawhi on the head. It looked a bit awkward, but it's just great to see Marc Gasol seem happy and into this game.
Yeah, well, it's fun. It's fun for a couple of reasons. If you tuned into the post-game interview, I guess, with Jack Armstrong and Gasol, he is very articulate, and you could see it and you can hear it, that he's excited to play for a franchise that has the legitimate ability to go and contend for a championship. Right? Mm-hmm. That's something that he hasn't been able to do given the situation on Memphis for the past couple of seasons. Right? Yep. He has had playoff experience, but as of late, they really haven't been able to put anything together for the guy who's been one of the faces of the franchise now for a long time. So it's nice that he's really willing. It's a relief. As I've said, it's a relief that of all the drama that happened with Kawhi Leonard, will he stay, won't he stay? The drama with Kyle Lowry, does he want to play on this team now that DeMar is gone, now that his name's been tossed into the trade rumors recently? Are they going to be able to get around that? It's nice that one of the best guys now on the team, a guy who's going to become an anchor, he just wants to play for the franchise, right? And I think that sort of attitude will be infectious for the rest of the guys that have been, so uncertain as of late because everybody's name has been tossed into the trade rumors. Also, the assistant coach has coached him on the Spanish national team, so he's not, he's coming to in a situation where he even knows some of the management side, I guess, and so he'll be able to communicate really easily. I think it'll be a nice, seamless integration into the team, which is really good. The Memphis franchise, they've already said that they're probably going to hang his, they said that he's definitely going to have his number hung in the Raptors, which is really cool to have a player of that caliber now brought into the Raptors team. He's obviously probably past his prime, but he's still giving you everything that we've articulated before, right? He's bringing you all those pieces. That's going to be really exciting. And go ahead.
Most definitely. Marc
But one more point. And we were talking about, okay, he's aging, so his defensive ability might not be there as it was however many seasons ago when he was Defensive Player of the Year. But that's not necessarily the case because if you look at a guy like Tim Duncan or even his brother Powell, they were fantastic defensive players their entire career, even at the end, with no vertical jumping, and the reason is because their positioning and IQ is so good that they can basically get blocks without having to leave the ground, right? Just because they're positioned correctly to get the hand in the appropriate place. So he doesn't need to be a supreme athlete to be a good defender, and we're going to see that now as the season rolls out.
Certainly, Marc Gasol going to fit in great. And you mentioned it. He's got ties to the Toronto Raptors players, the coaches. He played with Serge Ibaka on the Spanish national team. And Kyle Lowry. They played a season in Memphis together. Apparently, they roomed together Kyle's rookie year. That's something that came out. But Kyle Lowry, he's been a huge topic of discussion for Toronto Raptors fans, people who listen to the podcast as of late. And, I have to say, the past week and a half, he's been injured for, it seems like, the past 2 months. But he's looking back like the Kyle Lowry we want to see playing as of late. 22 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds for Kyle tonight, 5 of 7 from the three-point line. What are you seeing out of Kyle Lowry? Because I really love him being confident in those dribble pull-up threes. When he shoots them in confidence, Kyle Lowry's back. He's, maybe he won't be consistent, but it's certainly a good sign for things to come.
Well, he'd be more consistent now if a lot of the pressure is being taken off of him with the
Yep.
introduction of Marc Gasol, right? Because that's an issue. Is a lot of his shots come late possession or early possession when he's kind of forcing up a shot, right? Because a lot of the offense runs through Kawhi Leonard, and it seems like he's just kind of like, I want to get something every now and then. So we're going to see a lot of an easier offensive set now with Gasol, but it's good to see him play with that confidence. Maybe this has inspired him to continue to play better, everything that's happened as of late. And, it's still a question given his health. I'd love to see him rest the All-Star game or rest a little bit, but if he's playing well, man, this Raptors squad is good, and there's no reason that they can't compete with the best of them, that they can't trade blows. We didn't see it that much this game against the Knicks. Of course, just shooting horrible, I guess, from the field, not really rebounding, not really doing anything right, but it was his clutch threes, him and Danny Green, that's what really won it. So it's super exciting.
Certainly. Danny Green also, he had a phenomenal game from the three-point line, 14 points for him, 4 threes. Norman Powell off the bench, not the greatest field goal percentage, but, with DeLon Wright being shipped out, Norman Powell is being handed the reins as our kind of backup wing to really get us buckets. And I think Norm's biggest issue, when he had the GoDaddy curse, so to speak, on him, was his confidence. He'd either go out there and try to do too much, prove himself, or he'd try to scale things super back and not really be looking for his offense. It would never be a nice in-between, but I think Norman Powell being confident in his own game, knowing that he's going to get the minutes, knowing that the franchise trusts him, I think the best is yet to come for Norman Powell, and he's been great as of late.
Absolutely. All right, we're coming up on time. Let's swing into the segments here.
Certainly. Tonight, the Kawhi You Do Him Like That play of the day. Riker, take it away with the Kawhi You Do Him Like That.
Yeah, Norman Powell, you just said it. Now DeLon is gone. He's going to have the opportunity to run a lot more of the ball handling through him. So, that's one thing. He's always been confident with some really hard crossovers, some hard attacking abilities. But tonight there was a loose ball possession where 2 Knicks players were going for it. Norm got there just a second fast, got his hand on the ball with a nasty behind the back, takes on the fast break. Lob to Siakam, a bit late. Maybe he had his head down, but didn't finish the possession. But you're thinking, man, if this is an indication of what's to come, maybe Norm could become the next Steph Curry or Kyrie Irving in terms of putting people on the bus and adding victims to the crossover list, because that was looking real sweet.
Riker. You remember those 2016 playoffs? We were saying Norman Powell is D Wade with a 3-point shot?
Yep.
Are those comparisons coming back?
Maybe. I don't know. It's I certainly hope. I mean, I'm ready to really reestablish that Norm God nickname without being ironic when we say it.
Yeah, certainly. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but I'd love to see D-Wade with a 3-point shot come back, those comparisons. Regardless, not all plays can be the Kawhi You Do Him Like That play of the day, and some just make you say, oh, geez. And tonight, there's an OG's possession of the game. The Toronto Raptors, you mentioned it, outside of Kyle Lowry, Danny Green, the 3-point shots really weren't going down, and, we had a few on one possession. Kyle Lowry kept getting offensive rebounds. It looked like one of those possessions where it had to go down eventually. I believe we shot like 3 threes, and then it ended up with a Fred VanVleet travel. Those possessions that you can really see be like momentum changers that just end super, super unclimactically. They certainly make you say, oh, geez, watching the game.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 offensive rebounds to Kyle Lowry of all people, and they unfortunately couldn't capitalize. Usually the rule of 3, the first time, second time, but you're always lucky on the third try, but this time wasn't the case.
Certainly. Finally, the infamous, the one and only Damari Carroll Gold Star Award. Riker, do you have one in mind?
Yep. I'll like I said, I'll be humble. I'll take it on the chin. I'll give it to myself here because I'm critical. I was critical of the Gasol trade, not for sentimental reasons, but just because I really wanted to make sure that the objective standpoint was there to see, like, okay, slow your roll. This isn't going to make the Raptors incredible, but I think that the potential is definitely there, right? Mm-hmm. The buyout market is going to do a lot. The acquisitions that we had, and just seeing how Gasol already has integrated himself into the team is, this is a special season for the Raptors, and I think they can accomplish big things. So I'll give myself that gold star for absolutely angering probably 50% or more of the comment section and saying that, oh, this is not a fantastic trade, saying, oh, hold on there, we have to think about this a little bit harder. Everybody's like, no, this is good. You're an idiot for not seeing that. And you know what? I'll bite my words. If it comes back to me, this is a good trade. And it's going to do a lot for the Raptors squad this season, which is super duper exciting.
Certainly, that was a very entertaining video. Check it out. Definitely check out all of our trade recaps, and we're continuing to cover the buyout market. It's an exciting time of year for Toronto Raptors fans, and we'll keep you posted on all the news, everything that comes out. The Toronto Raptors, Ryker, making trades. I'm really excited about where this team is going.
Me as well. We have the potential to do something great this season, so we just gotta have faith in Masai and never lose trust in Masai Ujiri, and hope that Kyle Lowry stays consistent.
Certainly. You guys are the best for making it this far. Check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all that cool stuff. Check out all of our recap videos. We just broke down how we signed Ben McLemore and Malcolm Miller to the roster. The trade breakdowns. A lot of content we've produced. We have a lot of content coming on the way. Any last words?
No, all positivity. Finish it up there.
For sure. Rock out.